compromised by a broken family and an absent father. Byron Hicks, author of Searching for Dad, is here to talk about the importance of a father's role in the life of a son and the value of such bonding experiences playing catch with your kid. Good morning, Byron.
Good morning, Paige.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You know, you hear a lot about, I mean, unfortunately, as the statistics show, 1 in every 4 boys is going to grow up without a dad, and there's consequences, and we hear about increased crime rates and just poor choices, not having that authority figure associated in that relationship. But there's also major psychological and emotional ramifications of that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, as I talk about in Searching for Dad, and which talks about the emotional and psychological challenges that boys have, which is really not something that's broached. Growing up fatherless, psychologically, you believe that you had something to do with it. You believe that
it's my fault.
My fault. You know, much like a rape victim or a molested child somehow feels that they did something that caused this to happen to them. Boys feel the same way psychologically. What did I do? What could I do differently? What could I have done? And you feel that emotionally. You feel that void inside. You feel that abandonment, and it's just it's a terrible feeling.
And it's personal for you. You grew up in Chicago.
Yes.
Didn't have a relationship with your dad. Your mom was very clear about that. I mean, she really stepped in and didn't want you to have a relationship with your dad.
Early on, she did not want me to have a relationship with my dad. As I grew older, she didn't care. But yet, when I reached out to him, there was no bond there. He didn't feel a need, I guess, or necessity to connect with me in my later years. So, but earlier, she was totally against it.
So you did have these kinds of effects, these negative effects, and you list them out in your book. You have 9 side effects of growing up fatherless. We're probably only going to have time to get to 5 of them, but I want to start with the first one.
Okay.
Talk to me about the crisis of identity, as you describe it.
I remember looking in the mirror one day, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, and I was looking at myself, and I was looking for features of my father. And boys identify with their fathers. They look for themselves to their fathers. And that's what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for my mom. I was looking for my dad. I was a mini dad, if you will, mini me of my father.
Right.
And I couldn't find that. And we continually search for that identity to connect that lineage.
Right, because that's kind of the formation of the identity.
Yes.
Is that connection. Okay, then the second one you talk about is the silent anger.
Yeah. You're angry, and you don't really know why early on.
Right.
You know, I've talked to many moms who said, I've done all these things for my son, but yet he's angry, and I don't know why. I've bought him this, I've bought him these, I've given this, I've put him in these schools, and yet inside you're so angry, and it's misplaced. You don't know that you're really angry at your father, so therefore you're angry at your surroundings, you're angry at God, you're angry at whomever, and it tears you apart.
And that's what I've seen when we've seen interviews with these boys, these kids that are getting in trouble, many of them without fathers, is that you really see in their eyes just a sense of anger.
Yes.
They're just really angry. And then that leads to such things as gang activity that has to do with a need to belong.
Yes. Who do I belong to?
Right.
You know, my father is my first pack leader, as it were.
Right.
I have a son myself, and I remember he and I played catch together. He and I did all these things together that boys don't, when you don't have that, then where do I belong? Who do I belong to? And that's why, you know, you see boys excel so much in athletic teams. And you see men who go way beyond their years trying to still play on the team, because without the team, who do they belong to?
Right. Right, because they need that, so they seek it out, maybe in a team sport, which is a healthy approach, but maybe in a gang.
Maybe in a gang.
Which is not a healthy approach.
Not healthy at all.
Well, let's talk about also how you underestimate your own value. When you don't have a dad, it's difficult for you to kind of assess what your value is.
Yes. Well, conventional wisdom says that no one abandons anything of value. You know, in fact, there's statistics show that when an airplane crashes, people reach and grab suitcases, even though they tell them to leave the suitcase.
They do. I gotta get that. I've at least gotta get that. I just bought that outfit.
Exactly. So now the suitcase more valuable than me, my dad. You know, I'm a human being, blood running through my veins, and so you feel abandoned. Right. You don't. And it's just,
that can't help but, I mean, that's going to have major impact on you about how you value yourself.
Yes.
Well, you have all of the different 9 effects in your book, and it was a fascinating read. And I really appreciate this, and I think it's great for not only kids who are growing up fatherless, but also for dads to be reminded of the impact that they have on their sons.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate it. And to learn the additional side effects of growing up fatherless, go to